Hi, thanks for joining me. I wanted to do this video because I've developed a new free motion practice panel. And here's the panel that I have. And so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit down now and I'm going to quilt the different sections of this practice panel so you can see how the stitch path goes and get some ideas. And I'll even give you some ideas because I have this grid in the center. I'll give you some ideas of what you can do with that. So thanks for joining me. And I hope that you like the free motion practice panel. And remember, once you get this stitched, you can soak it and these lines will go away. So it looks like you did it all on your own and there's nothing wrong with that. I hear a lot of times quilters say they wish they had the designs printed on fabric because they need something to follow. And it's just like using a stencil. There's nothing wrong with that. So thanks for joining me. And I hope that this helps you in your free motion journey. I have a backing. I have the top. I'm going to put some cotton batting in between. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to use my stationary long arm where I move the fabric around. I want you to all realize though, that this could be used on a domestic machine doing free motion, on a stationary long arm doing free motion, or on a stand-up movable machine, long arm machine. It will work on any of them. And it's just, again, it's a good way to practice. So let's get started. Okay, because I am using my stationary machine, my stationary long arm, I am going to start in the middle and work my way out. If I were on my movable, my stand-up long arm, I would probably start at the top and work my way down. Either way works, but because I'm sitting down and moving the fabric, I want to manipulate my fabric from the middle out. So I'm going to start with this grid. And the reason I did the grid on here is because I wanted to give you a place. There's so many great grid designs out there that you can use. And I just wanted to give you a place to play with that. So I'm going to go ahead. You don't have to, but I'm going to go ahead and stitch in the lines. You could definitely do a design where you didn't stitch in the lines and you just used them as guidance. But I'm going to go ahead and stitch in the lines and then I'll come back and we'll do a couple different fill designs that would work well in something like this. But again, use it for a good place to practice different kinds of grid work. So I have the grid stitched in. I could have used a ruler to stitch on those lines. I just decided to free motion it and follow the lines as careful as I could. So either way, it works fine. Just if you are on a movable long arm, just make sure you have a ruler base before you use a ruler. All right, so let's talk about some different designs that we could do in here. So there's always the orange peel. And if you serpentine, you can go all the way across like that. And then go all the way down. And you can definitely do one side and then the other side, but I just feel like that doesn't flow as well for me. So I like to serpentine. So there's that design. The other one that would work in there, well, there's lots that would work in there. There's lots and lots of grid designs. And again, I would Google grid designs and see what you come up with. There are several teachers that I know that have grid work classes. So you could do another one called, I call this the, it's kind of just like a curvy cross hat or a curvy orange peel. So it's up and slide in, up and slide in, up and slide in, and up and slide in. You could do something like that all the way across and fill those in. You could even do something like this. And right now, I'm just keeping it fairly simple. But again, look for some good designs. You could do something like a fill design in every other one. So that what happens is the sections that are quilted stay sort of mashed down and the other ones will puff forward, and you'll end up with kind of like a checkerboard effect, which is fun too. Again, like I said, look some grid work designs up. You'll find lots and lots of different designs that you can try in there that are very cool. All right, let's go ahead and get this quilted. I decided I'm just going to go ahead and do the orange peel in here, and we'll get you in there a little bit closer so you can see, and we'll go from there. All right, so I like to, again, a gentle curve from corner to corner, and then I'm going to serpentine across. Serpentine back. So that's one full pass done. There's the second one. And now we're going to go up and over, and then we're going to work our way down. Okay, last one. Okay, and now I just have to finish off the orange peels around the outside edges. Okay, and look, that section is done. Doesn't that look pretty? And again, you could do anything you wanted. You could even double this one. If I double the orange peel, I start in that same corner and I come up a little bit above the first one, and then I go back in that same corner. So then it just dresses it up even a little bit more. Okay, let's move on to another section now. Okay, I'm going to get started on this design here in the corner. You'll have to watch the stitch path, but I'll stitch this inner section, this inner line first, and then I'm going to go ahead and fill it in with this C curve, and then I'm going to come and I'm going to echo, and then I'll start these little fronds that come out here, little swirls that come out to the side. There's no right or wrong with that. I just like to have that center one done first, especially if I'm not using marked fabric, because that way I have that center done. and I know that the spacing on the sides is going to be good. So I've put my Free Motion gloves on. These are Machingers. They are my favorites to use for moving fabric around underneath my needle. So, okay, here we go. Okay, so I have that done. And the trick to a C-curve is to travel back down to get that running start to be able to maintain that curve. And remember, those lines are going to go away. So if you don't hit right on, it's okay. And even if you want to throw something different in there, you could do that too. Okay, so I'm going to travel back down. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to echo. And you can see, I didn't stay on the line there. It's okay. I'm okay with that. So now I'm going to come out here. I'm going to travel on the outside, go around, and then come back down. Again, didn't hit right on, but I'm not too worried about it because those lines are going to go away. Okay, so there that one is quilted. And again, don't worry about the lines, they'll go away. And if you want to try something different in any of those spaces, that's fine too. And when I talked about the traveling because of the C-curve, let me draw that out a little bit for you. The C-curve is like that. But if you just keep on going like that, you end up with something different. So if you travel down to get that running start, to get that next one, it works out much better. So just travel down a little bit to get that running start. Okay, hope that helped. We're going to get on to the next one. Okay, so this next one, again, we're going to do the inside curve, the outside curve, and then I'm going to go and do, I'll probably do these over here, and then I'll maybe come back and fill that in. A lot of times I'll just do this without these in it, and then if I feel like it needs more quilting, I'll add something in that section. So it's typical for me to come back and do that after I get one done. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now I'm going to do this ribbon candy in here. And then I'm done. So that turned out pretty good. You can see that that's pretty nice. Don't be afraid to try something different and try and make it your own if you'd like to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and quilt the other two corners because they're exactly the same as the ones that we just did, and then we'll get started on the borders and get started on that. If you struggle with ribbon candy, I have another tutorial on YouTube about how I learned how to do ribbon candy really well, and the process that helped me. So you can go ahead and check that out. This design here is a wishbone, and then a wishbone variation to fill in between. You don't have to use both, or you can use both. I like to use the little fill variation for when I have maybe a larger area. So I'll just go ahead and draw those out real quick for you. So the wishbone is just like that. And then if you want to do the fill, it's kind of like this. So you come up, over, back, down, up. And you just kind of fill in like that in between here. So you'd come up, so I will do the wishbone first all the way across, and then I'll either come back that from the other end, or I'll break my thread and I'll start back at the beginning again. It's just gonna, for me, it just matters to me what feels most comfortable as far as the motion goes. Okay, I'm gonna bring my bobbin thread up. And then I'm gonna take a couple tacking stitches. I'm gonna get my gloves on. And then we'll be ready to go. Okay, again, we're going to go all the way across with just the wishbone. Okay, so I got the wishbone done. And look, I want to show you something here. There is here a couple places where I went off the line. Again, not going to worry about it. Okay, now let's go. Let's see if I can do it. Okay, so I don't feel like I'm working very well that way. It doesn't feel real natural to me. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to break my thread. and I am going to start back over at the beginning, just because I want to do what's comfortable for me. So you do what's comfortable for you for sure. So I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull my bobbin thread up again, and then just go ahead and get started again. Take a few little tacking stitches. Oh, that feels so much better. Okay, so I got that done. It's looking pretty good. Again, those lines are going to go away. Also, if you want to use this multiple times, you can just run different colored threads over top of this and practice multiple times. That's perfectly fine. Another thing that you can do is if you use water-soluble thread in the bobbin, you can stitch this out on the front, and then when you're done with it, you can turn it over, lightly spritz it so that that bobbin thread goes away, and then you can pull those top stitches out if you want to take the time to do that. That's another way that you can use this. All right, let's move on to the next design. So the next design is a swirl. There are a couple different types of swirls. The way I like to do my swirls, or I like to work in and then back out. So, but with this one, I rounded off this point here. So I came in, rounded it off, and came back out. And then, because you came all the way back, now you can take it and you can go the other direction and make a long row of them. So let's go ahead and quilt that out. All right, here we go. See if I can get you in a little bit closer so you can see a little bit better maybe. we got that whole row of swirls done. That looks pretty good. All right, and then we're going to move on to the flowers. Okay, so this next section is a flower and leaves. So I'm just going to show you how I would do it. There's multiple ways that you are free to do it your own way, but I'm just going to come in and I'm going to make a little curl, and then I'm going to, as I come back out, I'm just going to start doing my flower. And then I'm going to just travel around and go out one of these. And then I'm going to do a leaf. And my leaf is just up. And I'm going to put a little vein in it. So that's what I have here. So let's go ahead and stitch that out. And we get to the other side. I just did a little variation on the petals. I did a little, instead of doing a smooth up here, I did a little kind of like that. So it's just a little bit of a variation for you to try. Okay, let's stitch that out then. So you can see those are going to look pretty good. I'll keep on quilting these and then we'll move on to the next ones. Something else that sometimes I do too is I'll do the swirl in here, and then I'll come around and I'll just do the petals, and then I'll come around one last time and I'll do the little stems in there, the little veins inside of those, each of those petals, so that I don't have to try and hit it all at one time. So I'll do that on this one. I'll come around and I'll just fill in those stems. And there you go. Okay, for this next section, this is basically just a curve, a deep curve, or a U, whatever you want to call it, and I tried to space them somewhat evenly across. Again, if you go off the line, don't worry too much about it. And then over here, what I did was I created a little bit more space in between, and then after I did this whole row, I came back in with an E, an L or an E, whatever you want to call it, like as if you were doing cursive writing. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch those out, and you can follow along. Okay, so those are all done. I'm just going to follow this straight line all the way back till I get over here, and we can do this next side. Okay, so I'm finishing up these. And then I think what I'm going to do is, because I work better from left to right, I'm going to turn my fabric and I'm going to work this way. Also notice that I'm stopping with my needle down while I reposition my hands. Okay, and now that's done too. It's looking pretty good. So we'll move on to this. Then these are circles. And so you'll have to watch the motion that you go in. There's going to be some traveling involved if you've never done circles before. So you're going to go around. And you're going to go around again to travel to the next one. So around, and then around the half, and then branch off to your next one. That being said, I have seen people serpentine and do half of each one. I'll show you, and I'll show you in just a few of them. So they go like this. And then they come back around and they finish it off the other direction. I've just never been able to get mine to look great that way, so I prefer this method over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and travel. Okay. Stop and move that needle or that pin out of the way. Okay, so we got the whole row of circles done. And now next we'll move on to the double circles or the bubbles. On this one, you'll notice that we're going to travel up, around, and then do the small circle, and then come back and travel over to the next one. There's not as much traveling with this one as there is with the full circle, and you'll see that as we go along. So I'm going to do the big circle. I'm going to add in the little circle, and then I'm going to travel on. Big circle, little circle, and travel on. Big circle, little circle. Okay, so we got that row done. And now we're ready to start with the outside border. So this design and this area here is Ribbon Candy. And we already did it here. So again, we're just gonna sort of, you come back and you kind of kiss the one before it. Just touch it there. And it makes some really nice sashing or border design. I use it a lot. So we'll go ahead and we'll start quilting that. Again, if you have trouble with this, go on out to my video on YouTube about quilting ribbon candy. So on this side, it is a variation of a ribbon candy, but we're adding a little loop in the middle as we come around. And it makes it kind of look like hearts. And it's just kind of a fun, different thing to do. I like to break it up a little bit, so that's why I try and come up with different designs for you to try. All right, so here we go. So you're gonna do a loop. Let me see if I can get you in even a little bit closer over here. Go. We got those done too. It's looking pretty good. We have one last border to do. All right. So for this last design, I find it easier if I work on it with the most of the whole cloth facing me and get it in this way. So feel free to do it whatever way works for you. Let me show you how that design goes when you draw it out. Okay, so you're going to come in with a swirl, come back out, and then you're going to bump, do a like a feather frond up to there, bump back and out and around, and then you're going to travel on to your next one. bump back, out and around. Okay, so let's get started on that. Hopefully that makes sense to you, and we'll just keep on going. Okay, I'm going to keep on moving on. I'm going to finish this. I'm going to round the corner and I'm going to keep on going down. And then I have a choice when I get to here. I can keep it in this position or I can turn it, whichever way works for me. But we'll see what happens. So you'll notice on this side, I put a little variation in there where I did the little swirl in there. have it. Looking pretty good. Okay, so there it is. It's all quilted out. I did even go back and I stitched in all the lines to create the sashings and borders. So now my next step will be to, I'll go ahead and probably put some binding on it, and then I'm going to go ahead and soak it and let those lines go away. But I just wanted you, I hope this helped you. I hope this helped you in your free motion journey. I hope it helped you learn some new designs and some different things to try when you are doing your free motion on your projects. Thanks again. Also, I wanted to let you know too that I have workbooks. I have free motion workbooks that also have a lot of these designs in them, and you can find them on my website. Thanks for watching. I can't wait to see what everybody does with this project.